This episode, we're scared less. Welcome to the Grand Affidavit. He is Grant.
He's David.
I didn't screw it up that time, so we are already off to a fantastic start. Patting myself on the back. I think this is episode 8, and I'm sure I've screwed that intro up a couple times, so that's great.
Well, the one time I was running in space, or in place,
yes. I meant getting it backwards, where I end up saying I'm Grant, and then going, wait, what?
And I'm David.
Well, for one episode, that's an episode for the future, where we are going to change roles. Anyways, today, this episode, we are going to talk about irrational fears and annoyances, or irrational phobias and phonias.
No, don't say that.
Don't say that?
A phobia is an irrational fear.
Well, there you go. I like being redundant. It's okay. It's okay, Grant. So,
like a phobia is you're afraid of sharks in your toilet.
Well,
an actual fear is just being afraid of sharks.
So suffering from arachnophobia means it's an irrational fear of spiders that are going to eat your face?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thankfully, that's not my irrational fear. I don't even know what the name of my irrational fear is. And there is definitely a name out there for it. I know I'm not the only one who suffers from this one. But I guess if we're going to jump right into it, I'll go first because I already started. My big one, I think that first comes to mind, is a fear of like open water.
You're not the only one, because I totally am on board with you on this.
Yes, I can be out in a boat just fine, whatever. If the water is crystal clear, and it can be deep, and I can see whatever's down. Like if the water was crystal clear, and there's some like giant great white shark or whatever swimming beneath my boat, I think I'd be okay if I can see it and see what it's doing. It's the thought of not knowing what's going on under the water.
Yeah, the shark's just texting his brother.
Well, probably. I mean, I'm sure sharks are peaceful people. Not all sharks are violent and want to... I just said sharks are peaceful people. There we go. They want equal rights as people, I'm sure. Shark rights, I don't know. But anyways, I have a specific story where we were tubing down a river. Now, specifically, we were tubing down the Cowichan River, which is on Vancouver Island. And it's this, like slow meandering river for the most part. It's all good and it's clear water, and it's a fun time on a nice day. We've done it a couple times. But each time there's this part where you go underneath the bridge, and depending on what time of day it is, where the sun is shining, it's going to cast a shadow. And any time we go over that shadow, even though I've been tubing in this river for, say, like an hour now and no issues and I can see everything, that small, let's say, 10 to 15 foot stretch of water that's shadowed and now dark, every time I come up to it, I start paddling, pushing myself along. So I'm like, nope, I'm not hanging out here, even though there's nothing in that river that's going to get me. But every time we've done it, I'm like, just going to keep moving on a little bit quicker now.
There could be a troll looking for a troll toll.
I'd assume the troll wouldn't be hiding under the water, though, but would rather just be over on the banks underneath the bridge.
How do you know? We've never actually witnessed one. They could have gills.
It's possible. This is like these trolls are...
a gilly troll.
A gilly troll. These trolls are evolving. Wait, I can't get enough tolls. There's not enough foot traffic on this bridge, but there's an awful lot of people in tubes I've noticed in the water, so I'm just going to grow gills and hang out in the water and scare people with stupid fears.
And they're like, do you have any money? No, I'm in a swim trunks. I didn't bring any money with me.
Although
this plan is not working out like I hoped for.
On that tubing trek, what they get you to do, there's a lot of places that do this. You drive your car down to one end and you park it, and then they give you a ride back up to the top. And so they say, keep your keys in your pockets. While floating down a river, I had my keys in a pocket that was buttoned up, but somehow my car keys ended up in the river. So when we got to the car, we're like, well, great. Now what do we do? It's the only set of car keys we have on us. The doors are locked, but we were lucky enough that at the time we were driving a vehicle that had busted locks that you could literally stick. If it was a key that would, like, it didn't have to be the right key, just any key that would fit in the slot, just the tip. All you had to do is stick just the tip in and turn it a little bit, and it would unlock your doors. So we got lucky. We just went up to some stranger and said, can I borrow your car key for a second? Why? To break into my own car. Don't worry, it'll work. It'll be fine. So
well, you need the swim trunks that have the clampy hooky thingy.
The clampy hooky thingy. I think that's actually the technical term for it too.
Well, it's like a plastic carabiner or something.
Right, yeah. Do you remember when we went to a concert and the guy who drove us, I'm sure you were at this concert. I think it was like Gob or something like that. The guy who drove us, he put his keys in his pocket of his cargo pants and then went crowd surfing and lost his keys.
That sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, so we were stuck, and I remember a bunch of us had to cram into like a couple other vehicles to get home. Because, of course, when we were going to concerts, it was in Calgary, right? Like, so for us, that was a good 25 minutes, half hour away. And, keys should not fall out of pockets. That's all I'm saying.
Got to have the clampy hooky thing.
I think we should market that specific. Like, it can just be a regular carabiner, but we give it the name clampy hooky thing.
Yeah.
And just watch it sell like hotcakes. Now, I want to know real quick, so hotcakes, that's like more of an American thing, right?
Yeah, they're pancakes, basically.
Yeah. So why don't we Canadians, I mean, I can't include you in that, but as Canadians, why don't we say, watch it sell like pancakes? It just doesn't have the same feel to it, but they're the same thing, and pancakes are delicious.
Well, do you want to know what my irrational fear is? And I don't know if I'm sure there's a word for it. There's a word for everything.
I actually tried looking it up.
Oh, my fear?
Yeah, but I had no luck. But anyways, go ahead.
I have well, first of all, I also have a fear of open water. I have a fear if I'm in water that I can't touch the floor, like dive down and touch the bottom. It scares the crap out of me. So, like, ocean swimming is out.
So is it just like, can you, like, even if you can see the bottom but you can't make it?
Well, I think if I can see it, I would probably be okay. I've never been in that situation before.
Because, like, I could even be in, like, shallow water if it's murky. Like, I don't like swimming in lakes. I'll do it, but for the most part, I'm like, nah, I don't know what's swimming around me.
Yeah.
Anyways, your fear.
My biggest fear is actually, like, my eyes. My eyes are my precious little orbs are my eyes. So I have this fear that if I'm ever walking in the dark, there'll be, like, a giant hook just waiting at perfect eye level to go into my eye and blind me. My worst fear would obviously be two hooks that just go straight into both my eyes. Yeah.
So I couldn't. I tried to look that up, like something that, you know, like fear of something.
Well, fear of like I guess blindness.
Well, I guess maybe I could have looked up for that, but I specifically looked at fear of getting eyes gouged out, and all it gave me was ometophobia, which is just a fear of eyes. So I'm like, is that just being, I think, like afraid of like touching eyes and stuff? But the grotesque thing was when I searched for fear of eyes getting gouged out, it linked me to this story of this woman who her, I think, boyfriend or fiance or whatever it was at the time, like gouged her eyes out and told this. I'm like, what am I reading? But it was so well written that I couldn't stop reading it. And I'm like literally sitting there, like my pulse is like increasing. I'm sweating a little bit because I'm like, this is horrible. But walking down dark alleys, afraid that hooks are hanging. It sounds like the plot of some like teen horror movie.
Or Saw.
I was picturing more, you know, along the lines of like I Know What You Did Last Summer, and like
Jennifer Love Hewitt,
right? And the killer with the hook for the hand is literally just like they're probably walking. It's not a dark alley, but it's, you know, at a marina or whatever, and someone's just walking in between the boats, and he's literally like lying there with his hand hanging over the side, and just catches one of them by the eye, and that's how that one dies because
he was asleep the whole time, and he's like,
I got one, and it's most likely, you know, like the dumb jock or whatever that gets taken out that way. Like, come on, dude.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah.
yeah.
Was he in those movies?
He was in. He was. I'm sure he was in the first one for sure. I don't know if he got killed. Maybe he died. I don't remember. Should go back and watch those. Netflix made a series of Scream, right?
Well, no, Netflix didn't make that. It was MTV, and then probably Canadian Netflix.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. I feel like I thought there was a TV show for I Know What You Did Last Summer as well, but I could be very wrong. But
you are wrong.
So where are these hooks hanging from?
Well, I imagine like fire escapes.
Right. So you're gonna have to be like, you're either in like the alley of, you know, some like big city where
Philadelphia. Let's be specific.
Right. Okay. It's probably a better chance that it happens there as well, right?
The scariest alley I've ever seen in my life was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I looked down this alley. We were walking to it was 1 or 2 in the morning. The three of us had been at a bar all night, and we were going to a 24-hour diner, and we're just walking along. And to my right, I see the scariest alley I've ever seen in my life, and to my left, I see a Lamborghini. The dichotomy of that was just, it blew my mind.
Yeah, there you go. Did the alley look like it was straight out of like a Batman movie? Because that's what I assume when you talk about dark alleys and like Batman shows.
I was going to say it's a Batman movie, yeah, because it was also very heavily spray painted.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So you can imagine, let's say Batman. What's the next one? Batman Returns. So like Batman Returns, that movie, a dark alley, and if you walk down that dark alley, you'll turn down another side street right into Penguin's lair.
But see, I feel in this instance of the hooks hanging, I feel like as long as you walk in the middle of the alley, you're fairly safe.
Yeah, but I still
stay away from the buildings.
I still walk if you see me really stressed out, you'll see me covering my eyes just in general. And then if you see me walking down alleys, I'll be covering my eyes a little bit. So all my general stress is around my eyes. And when I went to theater school, right? Yeah. And there were some plays where I needed to get makeup done.
Right.
And so they could do all my other makeup, and then do my eye makeup last. Maybe I should have said do my eye makeup first. I don't know. And so they would basically be holding my eye as tight as possible, open, and they would be painting, and I would be slowly dissolving into a migraine.
Right.
Because I hate people that close to my eyes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So have you ever had to? I mean, I don't know that you wear glasses regularly, but you've had to wear glasses, yeah?
Yeah, I need to get new glasses because my right eye, I'm pretty certain, is blind now. I can barely read the screen, and I'm sitting 3 feet away from it. Right.
So have you ever gotten, I think it's the glaucoma test, the puff of air?
Oh, yeah, I did once. That was horrible.
Once? You're so lucky. Anytime I go, I have terrible eyes. And anytime I go for an eye exam, I get it every time. And I usually go for an eye exam once a year. But it's the worst because, I know it doesn't hurt. It's not doing anything bad to me, but you sit in the chair, chin in the little chin rest thing, and you're just tense. Your heart's going 1,000 miles an hour because you're going, okay, I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to jump. I'm not going to jump. I jumped again every time. Every single time. Another quick fear of mine, it's so silly because I'm a grown man. I'm a grown human being. But if I'm ever down in the basement and I have to, in our house, how our basement is set up is, there's a light at the top of the stairs, but then
there's the entrance where the murderers come in.
Right, yeah, exactly. But no, so there's a light switch at the top of the stairs to turn a light down at the bottom, to turn a light on down at the bottom. But then there's also a light on the other side of the room that you have to be in the basement to turn on. Now, my kids all the time will leave that light on, and it's happened a number of times where I'll go downstairs to turn it off, but I won't turn the other light on first, so I turn that off, and all of a sudden the basement is pitch black. Oh, and every time I'm walking and go, oh, okay. And as I get to the stairs, I'm doing 3-4 stairs at a time. So I'm get me out of here, which is so funny because I'm a grown man and I know there's nothing in that basement.
A grown man with children.
A grown man with children, but something is for sure going to eat me. For sure.
Do you run to your bed and then jump under the covers real quick?
No, it's just get to the light. Just get to the light. Get to the light. The funny thing is, I'll literally be up. It's maybe 6-7 stairs. We live in a 4-level split, so maybe 6-7 stairs to the very the bottom. The very my son calls it the very basement, from that 3rd level. So it's not even it's that far away. And all of a sudden, as soon as I'm on that next floor, I'm okay, I'm safe. I'm safe because whatever was going to eat me in the basement clearly can't make it up these stairs to eat me up here in the light. So I am now safe, and that's good. My heart can rest.
Yeah, I do the same thing because if I bring the car into the garage, right? When the garage light goes on.
Yeah.
And so then I go do something real quick, and then I realize, I need to run something to the trash cans.
Right.
So I grab some stuff, and I run out there, and the light for the garage is still on.
Yeah.
and I toss the stuff in the garbage, and then I turn around, the garage light has gone off now.
Right. And you're stuck in the garage.
And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta make it all the way back. I'm gonna probably be murdered right now and get my eyes gouged out.
Well, of course, because there's all of a sudden hooks hanging from your ceiling.
I know. I could have. I didn't check on the way out that there were no hooks.
There were no hooks. They've dropped down because you bumped something when you went to the garbage can, and there are hooks that are up there to, it makes sense. They're up there to hold something else. They're just not being used right now, and now they've dropped down to eye level, and there go your eyes. It's just like that. It's just that simple. I guess what we're saying is that we as grown men are afraid of the dark.
I know. It's funny because I can't sleep unless I'm in total darkness.
Right.
So, with today's technology, everything has a frickin' light. My fan has a light on it, for heaven's sakes.
Yeah.
So what I do is I have a blanket that I use sometimes as a pillow.
Yeah.
And so I just wrap that around the top of my head.
Yeah, my wife does the same thing, and I make fun of her because she'll make fun of our kids being like, oh, our kids have all these things that they need to sleep. Like my son literally sleeps with, he suffers from general anxiety, and he literally sleeps with
I'm aware of that.
He literally sleeps with, let's say, 15 stuffed animals. It's got 6 pillows, 4 blankets. It's just overkill, right? And then my wife is always like, oh, he needs this, this, and this. And I'm like, I turn and look at her. I'm like, you're a grown woman who gets into bed at night and goes, where's my eye thing? Where's my, and we'll look around for it and kind of has a minor panic attack going, I need to wrap this around my eyes. Now, she doesn't, I don't know if she needs total darkness to sleep, but I think it's kind of funny. Me, on the other hand, total darkness is fine. And I can also sleep with lights. I can sleep with all sorts of things. I'm fine. But
for me, it's how tired am I?
Right.
If I'm super tired, it doesn't matter. I could be out in the middle of the beach.
Right.
Middle of the day.
And you fall asleep. Yeah. But I was going to say, in total darkness, if I have, I will not hang anything over the side of my bed. No hand, no foot, because much like the
person under the bed's going to grab you?
Yeah, exactly. And again, I'm a grown man, but it goes through my mind. Something is under the bed. Something is under the bed. And sometimes there is something under the bed. It's my cat. And, as cats will often do, next thing I know, I'll say it's hot in the bedroom and I stick my foot out because, that automatically cools your entire core temperature down just by sticking your foot out from under the covers.
Well, it's scientific, actually, yeah.
Yeah, and I hang it over the bed, and next thing you know, my cat's pawing at my foot, and I'm losing it. Because at first, in my half-awake state, I'm like, what is happening? What is touching my foot? So I think my fear of that is actually it's logical. It makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Your felinophobia?
No, I'm fear of the dark, man. I'm afraid of the dark, okay? Are you going to make fun of me for that or what?
Well, no, I'm the same way.
You're also afraid of the dark. Do you remember the TV show Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Of course.
Of course.
We now reconvene the Midnight Society.
Right, yeah.
For your pleasure, the story of the eye hooks.
Are they bringing that back?
I would hope Netflix would. I'd like to show, if
or
I
was
ever
it
had
Goosebumps?
kids, I'd want to show them.
I can't remember if it was Are You Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps. One of them, I'm sure, is coming back.
Well, Goosebumps had the movie, right?
Was that recent?
Yeah, Jack Black, 2-3 years ago.
Oh, okay. No, I felt like it was something more recent. So maybe it is Are You Afraid of the Dark? I could be wrong. Maybe I'm making it up. The internet tells you all sorts of crazy things. Doesn't necessarily mean it's true.
Don't know what to tell you. When I was a kid, I used to have 4 reoccurring dreams.
Okay.
2 of them would terrify me. But one of them was I would be in this kind of studio thing with a catwalk, right?
Yeah.
And so this is me 16 and under, basically.
You do your little thing on the catwalk?
Yeah. And I would come out on the bridge, and I'd be on the side of a building, basically, and beneath me would be a beach, and always there'd be a tidal wave coming at me.
Oh, man.
And for some, I've been just terrified of tidal waves ever since.
Yeah.
But those 4 dreams reoccurring all the time.
That's crazy.
And then recently we've had a bunch of tidal waves going on around the world.
Right, and so you're waiting now.
Well, luckily I'm more inland. And see, it's funny because when I was 16, that's when I moved to Calgary, which was super inland. That might have been why I stopped dreaming about tidal waves.
See, but now I imagine it. Now you're sitting there going, okay, okay, I'm waiting. There's all these tidal waves around the world, and it's like Final Destination, and you're just waiting for your turn. And there's going to be this tidal wave that rolls in. As far inland as you are, I have no idea where you are. I don't really know California all that well.
Like, I'm about 2 hours inland.
Sorry, I believe I was supposed to say, I don't really know California that well. Is that how everyone says it down there?
No, no one says it like that.
Well, I think they should.
California, California,
here we come. Oh man, I recently learned how to play that song on the piano, and like just that opening, like do 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 do, and just like drive my wife crazy.
I love going through Chino and being like, this is apparently the worst part of California, which it's not.
At least according to Ryan Atwood.
It's not horrible at all.
That is, I gotta say, that is one of my all-time favorite shows, The OC. I will not lie about it. I'm a sucker for like melodrama shows.
Yeah. And Misha Barton is
So,
still
you know.
alive, so that's a plus.
So that's a surprise, I think is what you're trying to say.
Well, I meant plus.
That's a surprise. So
One day we're gonna have a resurgent reunion series.
at the OC. Well, we probably will, because every other show I feel that was on around that time has come back for like a little mini series run. Now, all the other shows that have done it have been more like, you know, like the intense sort of more action, like Prison Break.
Well, Gilmore Girls just did it.
24. That's true, I guess. Gilmore Girls. There we go. And you know what? If the OC came back and say it was on Netflix, boom, I'm in, like just like that.
In like Flynn.
In like Flynn. Doesn't matter how many episodes I am watching. Just like I've started watching Riverdale.
Yeah. You know that Adam Brody was the Flash? He was going to be the Flash one time?
Really?
Yeah.
Like for the TV show?
No, for the movies.
Oh.
There was going to be a
Oh,
Justice League movie by George Miller, the
Yeah.
guy that does Mad Max
Right.
and Happy Feet and Babe, but mostly Mad Max. We'll just focus on Mad Max. But he was going to be the Flash for that movie. And Armie Hammer was going to be the Batman, and DJ Contreras was going to be Superman.
Interesting.
And I forget the rest of the people. But yeah.
I have a buddy who was in Nashville one time, and he was standing in line at like
The TV show?
no, the city, and he was standing in line. I don't remember. He's like at some food place, anyways, and it turns out he was standing behind Adam Brody and what's her name? What's his wife's name from Gossip Girl?
Leighton Meister?
Yeah. And like
I was right. I was just guessing. I was out of my bum.
Well done. Your bum is smart. But anyways, he actually likes the OC, likes Adam Brody, but didn't realize it was Adam Brody in person, and Leighton Meester or whatever her name is standing behind them and he talked to them. He said something. They were talking about the food or whatever, and there was kind of one of those moments that after they moved on, someone was like, "Hey, do you know who that was?" And then he's like, "Wait, what?" And he just totally had this moment like, didn't do the. I mean, I don't know if you're like a selfie kind of guy. You meet someone, you're like, "I need a picture with you," but. Anyways, you know what? Bye.